Today is Tuesday, February 24th, 2026, and today is National Tortilla Chip Day, which feels like a holiday invented by someone who looked at a triangle and said, "Perfect for salsa." Welcome to This Day in History from, wait, that's random. I'm your host, C.L. Burns. On this day in 1582, Pope Gregory XIII issued the papal bull Inter Gravismus, announcing what became the Gregorian calendar reform. The who is the Catholic Church, but the why is math. Before this, much of Europe used the Julian calendar, which assumes a year is exactly 365.25 days long. That's close, but not perfect. The real solar year is slightly shorter. That tiny difference adds up. Over centuries, the calendar drifted away from the seasons. By the 1500s, the spring equinox was landing about 10 days earlier than the calendar said it should. That matters because the church's calendar, especially Easter, depends on the timing of the equinox. So the mechanism of the fix had two parts. First, a reset. In the countries that adopted it immediately, they skipped 10 calendar days to realign dates with the seasons. Second, a new leap year rule. Julian says leap year every 4 years. Gregorian says still every 4 years, except centuries don't get leap days unless they're divisible by 400. So 1600 was a leap year. 1700, 1800, 1900 were not. 2000 was. The effect is boring in the best way. It prevents drift from piling up again. And once timekeeping becomes standardized, everything else follows. Navigation, business, record keeping, even basic "what day is it" trust. Which brings us to another invention that made invisible things travel reliably, not through time but through wires. In 1838, Samuel Morse gave us his first public demonstration of his telegraph system to members of the U.S. Congress. Before the telegraph, a message could only move as fast as a person, a horse, or a train could carry it. Information was physically trapped inside transportation. The telegraph broke that link. Mechanically, the early system was simple. You press a key. That closes an electrical circuit. Current flows through a wire. At the other end, an electromagnet activates and makes a mark or a click. The magic was encoding. Morse code turns language into a pattern of short and long signals, dots and dashes, with pauses between them. So the wire isn't carrying words, it's carrying timing. Information becomes pulses. Once that works reliably, distance changes. Not because places move closer, but because waiting disappears. And the moment waiting disappears, expectations change with it. Now for the last thing, which starts as a weird lab accident and becomes a whole branch of physics. In 1896, French physicist Henri Becquerel began experiments involving uranium salts and photographic plates while investigating phosphorescence. Here's what makes it interesting. The original idea was basically, maybe sunlight excites these materials and they emit something like X-rays. So the mechanism of the setup was, he wrapped photographic plates in black paper to block light, placed uranium salts on top, and expected that only light-driven effects would create an image. But over the next days, even without strong sunlight, the plates still darkened. That told him something important. The uranium was emitting energy of its own, not reflected, not charged by sunlight, just happening. That's the conceptual leap. Radioactivity is the spontaneous emission of energy from unstable atoms. At the time, that was a brand new category of how matter behaves. Before this, atoms were treated like stable building blocks. After this, they weren't. And once you realize matter can emit energy from within itself, you don't just change physics. You change medicine. industry, and eventually the entire 20th century. So 3 February 24th shifts, a calendar that corrected drift, a telegraph that turned message into pulses, and experiments that revealed energy coming from inside matter. Different centuries, same themes. We keep finding ways to measure the invisible, and then we reorganize society around it. Anyway, those are the things we ended up digging into today. Stop by tomorrow and we'll see what the day decides to show us. If you want to know more about me or the work I do, you can find everything at waitthat'srandom.com. I'm C.L. Burns, and I appreciate you stopping by.